Okay, hello everybody. So here we come to maybe the next two parts of this long response thing to Maj0r Lee's The Last Jedi is an amazing and you are all insane video that I still have 40 minutes to get through because I only managed to get through 2.5 minutes in the first video. That was 24 minutes long. So I'm going to make it double the amount so that way I can hopefully get more done and just, keep analyzing this shit and, keep responding and everything like that. So hopefully I can keep this going without, going insane and shit like that and raging so hard that I just go insane. So let's do it. Let's keep going. I think where I left off is talking about how Luke's arc was similar to Obi-Wan's, and I debunked that by saying that Obi-Wan wasn't being a little bitch about it. He was actually, proactive. He wanted to help everybody. So let's keep this going.
Especially the fact that it was very much like Obi-Wan's sacrifice to save him in A New Hope.
Blah, blah, blah.
10 times more awesome because of this insane Jedi mind trick reveal.
Okay, I will always contend by that force projection thing was completely retarded. Okay, not once in the entire saga did we ever know about this. And yes, Luke is supposed to be a powerful Jedi, but if that's it, then that's kind of low on your list of priorities as, someone who's trying to make Luke out to be a pretty awesome hero. But you know why? Do you know why the entire mind trick reveal doesn't even work? It's because it's so illogical in how it's done in the first place. Like, Kylo obviously broke Luke's lightsaber earlier, and Luke's holding that, and he looks just like Luke. Luke just looks just like he did the last time he ever saw him. So how the hell did he not know? Why was he not, looking at Luke and saying, "How the hell do you look like this? What are you doing?" Like, he should have been red flagged immediately from the start. It just didn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me to this day. I don't care. You can say all you want that he was being a whiny little bitch about it. Like, dude, he's supposed to be a military tactician. Are you saying to me that he cannot notice a couple things were off because of his anger? Are you kidding me? No. Alright, yes. He does let his anger get in the way a lot. But Kylo should have been able to notice that Luke was not looking like, A, you would expect him to, and B, having the blue lightsaber that he had broken earlier should be immediately red flagged as to, oh, this is something's up. And the whole Jedi power is dumb because A, like I said, no one has ever used it before in the history of the saga. Number one. Number two, this is an ass grab in order to make the finale happen and then have Luke dissipate in the air after he dies. That is it. Alright? You're telling me that how Rey might use that power in the next movie to, she might use that power to trick somebody in the next movie? Are you kidding me? It's only going to be able to be used for one freaking part, and that's it. And that's really the sad part about it, is that could have been an awesome power reveal, but it wasn't, and it was handled in a really, really crappy way.
This right here is about as Luke Skywalker as it can possibly get. And if you really hate Luke Skywalker's storyline in this film, blame it on this guy, not this guy. Now, this film was clearly aware of the divisiveness that it would cause. That's why you see a lot of split or schism-related imagery in it. But the entire film is riddled with that same message. How could we not? In order for this series to exist and have some impact in 2018, there needs to be something brand new going on within it.
But there's not. Okay, I have analyzed the story as much as I possibly can, and here's how the story goes. It basically starts off like the escape from Hoth in Empire Strikes Back, then transitions into the chase, immediately transitioned into a chase, and then, has the plot with Rey and Luke training, has a crappy B plot about trying to disable a tracker since, they're being tracked through hyperspace, turns into the Return of the Jedi for a couple seconds, The B plots don't matter anymore after that. and then it becomes the battle on Hoth again, and then it turns into Return of the Jedi for the end of the movie. And that's honestly about it. It reused a lot of things. Now, it did do some things different, saying about let the past die and stuff like that. But I will still contend that is a pretty crappy argument to, make in defense for the movie, that, Star Wars had to become different in order to appease to a bigger audience in 2018. Well, have you not seen the amount of reboots that have, kind of crashed and burned lately? It's like so many movie series have had soft reboots or reboots and everything like that, and then, kills the entire appeal that the series actually had beforehand. Like, not the remake, the prequel to John Carpenter's The Thing, The Thing, from 2011. That movie has been lauded by many fans of that series for not being what The Thing was. It wasn't what The Thing should have been. The entire movie was just a ploy with monster cash grab. That was it. That's exactly what people think is going on with Star Wars right now. They're using the entire technical thing that made Star Wars great, but that's all they're using. They're not using, anything from the story outlook or anything like that. They're just using the special effects shit and hoping that's enough. But that's not it. All right? And, being different is not always going to mean it's better. Why should Star Wars differ from the formula that it had from not only the original trilogy, but for some people, the prequel trilogy? I will always contend that the prequel trilogy is not only highly flawed, but very forced and not so well put together. And I watched Plinkett's reviews for all of the movies. I still haven't finished the Force Awakens one, but I watched Plinkett's reviews for the prequels, and he talks about this type of stuff. Alright, and then, and this whole thing about the divisiveness, yes, okay, Star Wars has been getting more and more divisive lately. That's partly due, I think, to, people getting riled up in the media, just riling people up in the media about, the prequels and stuff like that. It's like, oh, you're dumb for not liking the prequels or stuff like that. And that was really one of the big things that really started turning people off when Disney bought the series, was because, they thought Disney was just lining people's pockets up to say that the prequels were good and that it needs a sequel and stuff like that. Now, in my eyes, to me, Star Wars should try to be different, but if it's going to cause massive splits in the fan base, don't do it. Okay? Like Mark Hamill said, you got to think about the fans, but that's not what Ryan said. Alright, he threw the fans' caution to the wind and said, fuck it, I'm doing my own thing. That's it. And that's kind of sad. If you're not going to listen to your audience about something that they've known for their entire lives, that shows a complete, utter lack of faith and disregard for everyone involved. Okay, this is the entire problem with Halo 5 Guardians. It threw so many things to the wind just to have a story play out that not only didn't make sense, but killed whatever was left of your favorite characters. Almost. At least.
The way that this film introduced the idea of a better, newer Rebel Alliance was subtle and really well thought out.
Better and newer Rebel Alliance. Okay, I'm pretty sure the Rebel Alliance spanned galaxies and planets at some point. Well, not galaxies, but it spanned a lot of planets at some point. The entirety of the Resistance was centered on one fucking ship. And at the end of the movie, no help came except from Luke fucking Skywalker, who pulled off one of the biggest troll moves in the galaxy in order to save everybody. Okay, that's kind of pathetic once you think about it. Why would the Resistance need Luke to save them like that? Okay, an entire army, not one or two people being saved by Obi-Wan Kenobi, but hundreds of fucking people being saved by one guy. Alright, that's kind of pathetic. to me, that will always be a new kind of pathetic. Okay, the Rebel Alliance fucking sucks in this movie. And it's not, yeah, they call it the Rebel Alliance for some fucking reason. At the middle of the movie, they start saying Godspeed Rebels and all this bullshit like that. Like, and then, that's one of the things, but people don't think that The Last Jedi is an original work. It's because it immediately detransitions from the Republic and the First Order to just the good old rebellions and the rebellion and the fucking Empire all over again. That's why so many people freaking hate it. They're like, why is this a thing again? Like, why are we retreading old ground? Like, that's why so many people just feel utterly irritated with it. It's like, why are we retreading old ground? If you're trying to be different, stop doing what George Lucas did and borrowing so much from the original and prequel trilogy in order to make your thing. Okay, like the movie or not, you can admit it used way too many things from the originals and the prequels in order to do what they wanted. Alright, and the new, like I said, the new Rebel Alliance sucks. It's like 100 people left on the Millennium Falcon at the end of the movie, after being chased relentlessly through the galaxy because of an incompetent leader who wouldn't tell Poe Dameron the plan so that way he can mutiny and we can have the ending take place. That's literally fucking it. That is literally it. It's pathetic, it's dumb, and it ruins several side characters from The Force Awakens that had an opportunity to grow, such as Poe Dameron. It's just annoying. It's annoying as hell to see. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's just bad.
Not with a bunch of soldiers, because clearly that didn't do enough. But maybe it's with the idea that 30 years ago we thought only one guy was powerful with the Force. We thought there was one Jedi left. Now we're learning that everything we were taught about the Force wasn't all that there is to know. And in reality, anyone can tap into it, not just Luke. Now we're awakening that same Force in average no-name nobodies.
No, how many times do I have to say this? You have to be Force sensitive in order to, be a Force user. Just being a random kid in the middle of a slave planet that uses slave labor for some reason, even though they can just as easily use droids. And then all of a sudden, oh, hey, I get the Force for some reason. What? That's not how the Force works, okay? I will use that Han Solo meme. That's not how the Force works, okay? That's something you have to be born with, okay? You wonder why so many people in the entire freaking prequels and the original trilogy did not have the Force at all, because they weren't born with it, okay? If everybody had the Force, that would completely negate what made the Force so special in the first place. Okay, why would you just get rid of that? Why would you say, alright, like I said in my previous video, okay? Yeah, everybody being able to be a Jedi and stuff like that. That's a good idea on paper, and it's a good idea for a children's message. But that's it. In context of reality, not everyone's going to be able to have the same thing. Not everyone's going to be not everyone's going to be a rich guy. Not everybody's going to be, successful in life. You have to teach kids that. Because if you're that one kid who doesn't have the Force and everybody else does, you're going to feel extremely dejected because the entire thing has been basically, oh hey, everybody can have the Force now, but you're just that one guy who can't, no matter how hard he or she tries, cannot have the Force because they don't have it. They don't have the aptitude for it. Okay, this is also my problem with the Legend of Korra and how it completely destroys the entire cycle of bending. It basically says you can basically be whoever you want to be, and you can be the Avatar. That's basically it. Because how easily Avatar 1 and Avatar Korra gain their powers so quickly with no real modicum of training except in one or two areas. They are all of a sudden just able to do all of these amazing things with no training. And then, the airbending thing, it was a nice concept while it lasted, but it didn't have any build up to it. You just didn't know anything about it. Alright? Like I said, having the kids be Force users is a neat concept in theory. But why couldn't they just save the fucking kids on the slave planet? I do not understand it. That is something I will never understand, why people utterly defend Rose and Finn for how they handled the casino situation. Why, for the love of freaking God, did they not save those slave kids at least? Then maybe later on down the line there could have been a twist that said, hey, these kids are force sensitive and Rey could train them or something like that. Or Luke could train them if he was still alive. But no, that's not what we got. The movie ended on a freaking commercial with that kid. Okay, that didn't need to be in the movie at all. Why was it in the movie to begin with? I do not understand it. I really want to know. All right, and I've watched a lot of stuff on Monday, Matt, about this type of stuff, and you know how Rian Johnson has been defending his movie, and he basically said that this movie was just for him. All right, he said that the movie was not done in regard for anybody else but himself. All right, he was given full directorial control. And they basically let him run ramshot on everything he wanted. Okay, that's pretty bad. Alright. That entire explanation about all the kids being able to use the Force just contradicts everything in the OT. Okay? It just basically retcons a lather of things in the OT in order to make that happen. And it is disgusting.
Something bigger, and that is precisely what we just got. Episode 9 should and probably will be about a bunch of previously non-Jedi people awakening the Force in themselves, or it might just end with that. I want to see Finn and other characters.
Okay, Finn had his opportunity to get the Force in The Force Awakens, okay? Like, if you watch the trailers at all, you would know. But from The Force Awakens, if you watch any of the trailers from The Force Awakens at all, you would know that Finn was, just looking from the trailers and the way he was holding the lightsaber, you could tell that maybe, just maybe, he was becoming a Force user, or that this guy was going to be like the next Luke Skywalker or something like that. But we didn't. Okay? The entire thing I was hoping to see from Finn was that he was a stormtrooper like Mara Jade, who, well, not really a stormtrooper, but a soldier for the Empire, like Mara Jade, who had the Force, but they didn't know it. And they were been fighting for a cause that they did not completely understand or agree with. And once they got out of that, they were able to tap into the Force and find out their potential for it. Okay, like, that would have been an amazing thing to do, okay? Plinkett had a pretty good thing about this, too, about, story-wise, how to, fix The Force Awakens. How, if The Force Awakens had another movie in front of it, it could have been much better. Where he talks about stuff like that, where Finn being a stormtrooper who's just working for the Empire, and you get to follow him around for a little bit, and then after Starkiller Base blows up those Republic planets, he goes AWOL. Like, that would have been a really good idea to really have for that movie, and we didn't. Okay, and like I said, we could have had a really good thing with Finn about him being implied to have the Force. Okay, that would have been an amazing thing to have, but we just didn't get it. All right, he was just there. Okay, yeah, I like Finn a little bit more than some people do. I really do, but I mean, he was screwed. Finn was screwed by the Force Awakens. Like, he could have had so many things going for him, but he didn't. All right, and that's one of the things I fault J.J. Abrams with creatively with the Force Awakens. He just didn't really give Finn much to do, and he retconned a lot of details in his past in order to have the plot happen towards the end of the freaking movie. Yeah, I mean, they had an opportunity with this entire Force projection thing. Well, not the projection, but the, everybody can use the Force thing, but it failed in The Force Awakens, and it's just too late to revive it in another movie.
Start to exhibit Force-like powers, but even though the Force is universal now, that doesn't render Luke obsolete at all. He still has the biggest heart in the whole galaxy, always willing to sacrifice himself to save others, and he was the one to pass on the baton, to teach Rey and the audience.
Okay. He did not teach Rey. I do not care if somebody uses the excuse to, not say that Rey is not really a Mary Sue, Luke did not teach Rey. He taught her one lesson. That was it. That is all he did. All he did was teach her about the Force being a living thing around you. Okay, that's all he did. That one lesson at the beginning of the movie, that was it. There was no other lesson. Okay, there may have been an attempt to do that other lesson, but they didn't. There was only one lesson. That was it. He didn't teach her how to use a lightsaber. He didn't teach her how to, combat the dark side. He didn't even teach her really much about, the Jedi losing their way, except from stuff that we had already known. Like, Darth Sidious, using the Jedi Council to his benefit. That was it. That's all we got. Okay, but it was stuff we already knew. Stuff the audience already knew. Stuff Rey already knew, apparently, from the dialogue that was in that scene. So it's bleh. So let's keep going into this shit.
Awaken the Force within ourselves. That is what Luke will be known for in this new trilogy.
For awakening the Force within ourselves. That one I might not be able to argue with, but I'm going to try anyway. Awakening the Force within ourselves. That's more of like a theme. But there was no real thing for the whole movie really about awakening the Force within ourselves, because Rey already had the Force in her. It was already awakened. Okay, that was literally the entire point of the title of The Force Awakens, was the fact that the Force awakened inside of her. At least from my inference. That the Force awakened inside of her, and, she was able to do a whole slew of things without really much training or anything at all. Even though everybody else had to go through some modicum of training in order to do something with it. Okay? I know a lot of people give crap on Luke, or are giving crap on Luke now because, oh no, he didn't get much training at all and shit like that. It's like, but he did. He didn't get to see all of it, but at least he trained. He trained spiritually with Yoda. He didn't train that much with the lightsaber. And in the last lightsaber fight, and in the two lightsaber fights that he was partaking in the last two movies of the original trilogy, the sword fighting didn't really matter, really, because all he didn't fight with any grace. Right? And he got his ass kicked by Vader in Empire Strikes Back. Okay, awakening the Force within ourselves. I mean, I think that one is kind of a stretch. I could be wrong about that, though. All right, I think they may be onto something with it. Awakening the Force within ourselves. Okay, I think that's a good theme to have, but it was already done. All right, to me, I think that entire thing was already done, and retreading it is just going to make people think of The Last Jedi as more prequel-y, as reusing too many things from the previous movies instead of trying to actually come up with something new. And it didn't really, to me, The Last Jedi didn't come up with anything really new at all.
Totally reinventing the Force, and for the better. The film provides us with solid drama between...
No. We cannot reinvent the Force, okay? There is a concept for reinventing old things. It's called retconning, and it almost never works. Okay? One of the only examples that I have ever seen where retconning can actually work to help a story is Terminator 2. That is it. Okay, that's one of the only examples that I remember that I can really solidly think of that has retconning actually work. Okay, because it could make sense in the context of the story. We don't actually get to see it, but the more you think about it, the more it actually makes sense. If you could retcon it, it would actually help make that story happen. Because at the end of the original Terminator, Sarah Connor, well, not at the end of it, but when Kyle Reese is explaining to Sarah Connor all about the Terminator stuff, and then when he's explaining to the police about how he blew up the only time machine that Skynet had, and this was like the one chance to save